Imagine waking up to discover that 340 million rand of your tax money is disappearing every single day. Yes, you heard it right. 340 million. No, it's not a mistake. You can wake up, pinch yourself up and see whether you're dreaming. It's not a dream. It is 340 million rand every single day missing in South Africa. This is exactly what's been happening in South Africa for the past 5 years. In this video, I'm reviewing this article by Seth Thorne in Business Tech, and basically we're going to look at where the money has gone, and we're also going to look at how this impacts you, your personal finance, as well as your investments. Welcome to this edition of Friday Money Matters. What I'm about to share with you is quite huge, and it's first time when I read this article. By the way, I'm going to leave the link to the article so that you can also read for yourselves. There are a lot of sources there to verify what he's talking about. Make sure you go through everything and then have your own opinion concerning this. Now, in this video, I'll also lay out to you exactly how and what I think is going to impact you. Already some of the things you might be familiar with, or you might have seen them happening around you, but you didn't know exactly where the influence or the impact was coming from. So we're going to delve deeper, take the article as the foundation text, and then go deeper to look at exactly how it's affecting your daily life, how it's affecting your investments, and how it's affecting your personal life, as well as personal finances and business moving forward. Okay, let's break down these mind-blowing figures. Now, the actual figure is 123.56 billion in irregular expenditure over the last 5 years here in South Africa. Now, irregular expenditure is where you're saying expenditure that has gone to different government departments is not accounted for, or there is misuse, a misappropriation, embezzlement, fraud, whatever the case might be. Now, this is expenditure that has not been accounted for. Remember, each and every department gets a certain portion of the budget in every financial year, and this is based on certain macroeconomic objectives, societal objectives, and so forth, that it sets out to accomplish within that fiscus. So if the money does not go to what it was apportioned to do, therefore this amount to irregular expenditure. Most of the times this money cannot be traced. There is no accountability to what and to where it went, and therefore no one can account. Again, the figure also is 43% of government departments that are involved in irregular expenditure. These departments are the ones that have, in the past 5 years, collectively contributed to 123.56 billion rand in irregular expenditure. And surprisingly, this could even get worse. The figure could go as high as 135 billion if we include the South African Rail Service Agency, which is PRASA. Now, PRASA's figures have been excluded from that particular figure of 123.56 billion. But if we're to include that, then the figure goes up to about 135 billion rand. I know that at this point you'll be saying, why should I care? All right. A lot of South Africans have been desensitized as far as corruption, as far as fraud is concerned. We've seen a lot of these stories in the media, and as it is, they don't really mean much. It's almost like a daily activity. It's something that people are used to. They talk about it. Nothing seems to happen. But exactly this is the reason why you should care. The reason why you should care is, one, it is your tax money, and despite the fact that you've been paying tax, there's a decline in public service. You've seen in recent times a lot of demonstrations in townships and so forth, where they were demonstrating due to lack of certain services that are basic. It could be water and reticulation, it could be electricity, or this and that. In a lot of areas right now, suburbs and township, there is a serious shortage of water. Now, if water becomes an issue, then you know that there is a serious problem. Now, remember again, there was an issue some time ago in Hammarskraal, outbreak of cholera due to what? Problems with the water, provision of water, Rand water, Joburg water, all these other departments failing really to provide the service. Yet, in hindsight, when we look back, there was provision in the budget to cater for all these provisions. Again, why you should care about it is because when there is such irregular expenditure, it means that taxes and demands from tax will increase. The government will want to raise more taxes in order to cover those particular gaps in expenditure. Now that there is a gap, now that there are problems, then a lot of money has to go that route again to try and solve problems that were not really supposed to be there. If expenditure on those items had happened, then we wouldn't have had these problems. Again, you have seen also knocks on the rand taking a knock time and time again, also based on all these expenditures that are irregular. And I will explain to you as we go through this video exactly how the rand gets affected and what it means to you personally in your finances, as well as collectively as a family unit, as also businesses and investments. Okay, now let's look at first at the impact on the economy. Now, we have seen in latest years where there's been a pulling out of foreign direct investments. In this video here, just a few weeks ago, we spoke about HSBC moving out of South Africa. It's not only HSBC, there are a lot of other businesses that are taking away their investments to other countries. Could be to South America, it could be to Asia, where there are more lucrative investment opportunities because there are systems and laws there that protect their investments. Now, imagine you're a company investing in a country where the officials there are involved in pilfering public funds and so forth. You know that at the end of the day, your business, one way or the other, will be affected. The second thing is that local businesses are struggling, and you know that if local businesses are struggling, the state usually jumps in either to offer subsidies, to offer bailouts. This money is not there because the money is gone somewhere where it cannot be accounted for. Therefore, businesses continue to struggle, and if businesses struggle, either they scale down or they shut. When they shut down, this leads to the third problem, which is unemployment. And you have seen in this last video, we spoke about 64% of youth unemployment in South Africa. It's one of the highest figures on the continent and also in the globe. So it means that these irregular expenditures are causing untold havoc throughout the entire system, throughout the entire country, in a lot of other sectors and departments. Okay, when I said 124 billion, probably, you know, because it sounds like a big figure, it doesn't really explain exactly the impact. What does it really mean? All right, if we're to break it out, take it into perspective, what is it that you can do with 124 billion? Now, 124 billion rand can build approximately 620,000 RDP homes. Now, which means if the money, imagine if that money was channeled there, we wouldn't be having the housing problem that South Africa is having right now. Okay, now maybe let's not talk about housing. Let's look at it differently. Now, if we talk about education, you have seen NSFAS over the years is cutting down what is giving out to students as far as bursaries are concerned. Now, if we were to take it in that context, that money can fund 1.2 million students throughout their education program in university, which means we're looking at 3 to 4 years of varsity, all catered for by this amount of money. All right, okay, maybe let's go deeper. If you're looking at small businesses, and imagine we have heard that SMMEs are at least at the core of driving economic development in the country. Now, if we were to focus on that, it will help 200,000 new businesses to be established, which means that it will solve the unemployment problem. It will solve a lot of other issues. Money will be raised by the state from tax and so forth. So the impact is quite enormous. Okay, maybe you're asking, where has it gone? Like I said, 43% of departments, but some of the biggest culprits in this were the Ministry or the Department of Forestry and Fisheries. I don't know exactly what they're doing there, but there is a department, in case you didn't know, of Forestry and Fisheries. Again, second culprit will be the Department of Basic Education. I'm sure you've also heard and seen in the news that the Department of Education is going to be cutting down the number of teachers. Another impact that is so apparent, I'm sure you've seen it everywhere, roads and infrastructure crumbling, a lot of things in a state of disrepair. You have seen the rail service failing to offer the service that they used to offer some time back because of infrastructure that is in a state of disrepair. And now what this means is that as long as the infrastructure is not in a good condition, therefore it means that businesses do not value that particular location as a good place to invest, because remember, they will need transportation, telecommunications, and all these other infrastructure to conduct business. If these are not in place, or they are not in a state that facilitates day-to-day commerce, then it means that businesses have no option but to relocate to other localities where they can get all that infrastructure in place to make sure that they do the most to bring forth their products and their services. Okay, let's look at the financial impact. Now, the financial impact, most of it goes first to the rand. Obviously, if a lot of money is going out of the country, what it basically means is, if you look at the BOP, which is the balance of payments accounts, which is a record of all the transactions of the country relative or with other countries. Now, as long as a country is in trade with other countries, all these transactions are recorded in the balance of payment. Now, if there is a lot of outflow compared to inflows, as far as direct investments, as far as money going towards imports instead of exports, it means that the currency, the local currency, faces a knock. And if it faces a knock, and then it means that you will have a serious currency problems. You have seen that in the past with South African rand having problems, taking a knock from all these other either neighbors as well as the West, and failing therefore to compete effectively on the international market. Now, if the rand is worth less, then it means also that your savings also will be worth less. Okay, that will be worth less, and if your savings are worth less, it means therefore that maybe you do not have enough in your savings to cover any changes in inflation or to cover any other changes that are affected by the next problem, which is increases in prices. Now, a lot of businesses end up increasing prices because they need to cover a cost that are incurring either due to problems in infrastructure damaging their vehicles, a lot of potholes, meaning that a lot of vehicles will undergo maintenance. And then if that happens, therefore these costs are passed on to the consumer. Therefore you've got a market where prices are going higher and higher so that businesses cover their cost. So at the end of the day, you, the consumer, are the one that feels the brunt and most of it from this irregular expenditure. And again, the next impact from your personal finances is on the investment scale. As far as business and investments are concerned, I already mentioned that there is an exodus, massive exodus of foreign direct investments to seek other avenues with their investments. Again, the second thing will be a low investor confidence, as you have seen the rating agencies downgrading South African institutions and so forth, which also leads to a decrease in local business confidence. And as far as that is the case, then a lot of businesses either go into a period of losses and they shut down or they retrench, which actually exacerbates the whole situation, and it becomes a cycle of bad occurrence over bad occurrence. And seriously, something really needs to be done. Now, when we look at what needs to be done, we know that this is not the end of it. I guess this is also the reason why economic growth projections are even lower, and this becomes a cycle of everything going lower and lower and lower until who knows when. However, there is still things that can be done. For instance, ensuring that there are stricter oversight. Now, oversight to look at these particular departments, to have people in charge, and to bring about a certain level of accountability in these departments. Such oversight will go a long way to try and rectify the current situation. Another thing will be stricter penalties for offenders, because a lot of people do it knowing that nothing will come out of it. No one gets prosecuted, and no one really, and everyone else gets away with it. Again, what can still be done is involvement, public involvement in oversight and in monitoring as far as these departments are concerned. And it's been done in other countries where the public is involved in the managing of the resources, because in any case, the resources belong to the population, and therefore involving them then will mean that they will come to the point where they ensure that they create legacies where these resources outlast them, so that future generations can enjoy the use of these. I think we also need to emphasize this, that what has happened, and remember, the issue is no longer looking at exactly what has happened and where the money has gone. Now that we're over that, the situation, then what to focus on is the next steps. What needs to be done to rectify this situation and move on to better performance of these departments? Certainly a lot needs to be done. I'm interested to hear from you what you think should be done to rectify irregular expenditure at local government level, at a provincial as well as at national government level. What must be done by the officials, and what needs to be done in terms of oversight? Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you like this video, and also share with others. Subscribe if you have not yet subscribed. Thank you for watching Friday Money Matters, this Friday and every other Friday on this channel. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.